Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Amanda Primiano. I'm the executive director at the Monroe Free Library.
I'm Mike Maggin. I'm the senior reference librarian, also at the Monroe Free Library.
And I'm Sara Mallory. I'm the Young Adult Services Coordinator.
And today we're going to talk to you about our disco party, but framing it around the idea of planning and executing a large-scale event at your library. So why a disco? Well, for some context,
Why
last year,
not?
yeah, why not, right? But for some context, last year we hosted a 6-month series called Decades. And every month we honored a different decade starting in 1950s all the way up to the 2000s. And so the disco obviously fell into that 70s celebration. But why a disco, you might ask? So we have found success in the past with signature events. We previously did a different annual series called Around the World, and we had a kickoff party and an end party, and we found a lot of success in those. The community was engaged, they came, they participated, they liked these large-scale events that we did. So we said, okay, when we were doing the Decade series, we didn't really quite know how to do if a kickoff would really fit this theme or an end party. We were like, we're not sure. So we said, okay, what other signature event could we create around this decade series? And we were just sitting in a meeting, and I don't know if it was me or Mike, I can't remember. We said, how about a disco party? Now, also from additional context, we have a small library. Our library is 7,000 square feet. We do not have a large programming space. Our largest programming room is smaller than this room. So we do not have a large space. So we're like, can we pull it off? How would we do this? What does it look like? But we were like, let's go for it. Let's try. Let's see what we can come up with and how we can really pull this off. One of the first things we knew we needed to do was really get the word out. Once we've decided, okay, we're going to do it. So we kind of did more than our traditional marketing. We went past just the flyers and the social media. We did a colored print ad in our local paper. We were actually in our schools at that time. Sara and I were distributing library cards, so we were talking to the teens about it. Mike and I were in the senior center talking about it. I was invited on a radio program through our town supervisor. I talked about it there. We put flyers up everywhere. And word of mouth was so important. I mean, I don't know how many times we said.
I used the word disco probably like 100 times in that 2 month period, and everybody was like, "We know, Mike. There's a disco coming."
It's coming. So that was so important to us to really, really get it out there.
Okay, so planning the
Yeah, ahead.
you with planning your event, you got to think about what makes sense for you, right? Like a disco may not work for you, but something else might. It's really just thinking logically what's going to be doing it, but also like be bold. I always say be bold. Like be afraid. Reaching out to your community. Your community has a lot of resources for you. There's a lot of connections that you have. We were able to actually rent a dance floor for the evening, which was kind of cool from people we had previously worked with for to get a tent from. I can't remember the name of them, but they were actually very helpful. They came that night, put it together, and took it apart, so we didn't have to do any of that, which was nice. And it wasn't that expensive either. Using in-house resources, we have a Spotify account for the library. We use that for our playlist. We'll get to that in a minute. YouTube we used for karaoke. We used our laptops for retro video games, all sorts of stuff. So stuff you already have in-house that you don't need to spend any extra money on is really helpful for these events. Staying within your budget, like I said, stuff like that really helps you to stay within your budget because now you have extra money to throw around that you didn't spend on those things. Leveraging your team. Who on your team wants to help? Just because they're not on the committee doesn't mean that they're not willing to help you set up or help you do this and that. We had a lot of our part-timers, even that day, just help us out to just move furniture or to put things up. Like little things like that are so helpful. And also our team volunteers were extremely helpful. We'll get to that too. Staying on theme matters. That's really important. You want to make sure that like everything feels disco. You don't want it to be cheesy. We were all dressed up, as you saw from our opening slide. We all had outfits. A lot of our community came out dressed up. Some people did, some people didn't. So that it really does make a difference because the event feels better. And then community engagement. You really want your community to know about it and to feel like welcome and feel important about it. Also to know the event is happening. Like as you can see on our door here, we had a countdown how many days were left until the disco, which I think was helpful because people would walk in and say to us, "Oh, what is that about? There's something happening." Because even the amount of things we put out, there were still people who the day before were like, "There's a disco happening." We're like, "Yes." So
Oh,
Can I
sorry.
go fast?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Budgeting. So we already had a budget for our entire series. It started in March and it was supposed to go till August, right?
Mhm.
August. So at the May point, we realized, okay, we have a decent amount of our budget left, and we don't foresee using a lot more of those funds for anything else major. So let's put our effort and a big chunk of our budget towards this event. We really want to make it happen. We wanted a real dance floor. At one point, we were like, well, can we get away with not having a dance floor and just saying it's a dance floor? But we were like,
back and forth.
yeah, we were back and forth.
Well, you know, you do what you can do. You do what you have.
Right,
So,
right.
it worked.
And no,
Yeah.
Mike was like, I'm gonna see what I could do. And Mike really found a way. There was, like I said, we have a tight space. So we had to make sure it was gonna
We'll
fit.
show you guys.
We'll show you in a
We
second.
have a bunch of photos.
But so the budgeting was important, and because we had agreed, okay, we're gonna put a lot of money towards it, we were able to really make it fun. So here are some photos of how we transformed our library.
So this is our front space right here. As you can see with the chairs and tables, this is where we were able to put our dance floor. We just moved all of that stuff out of the way ourselves. We didn't hire anybody to move it.
Nope.
We sat there and moved it all. And then they came in and put that together for us in one night, like I said, and took it apart at the end of the night. It was great that they were able to do that. I didn't actually think they could do that in one day. They had no idea that existed.
Yeah, because we were open the next morning at 9 o'clock. So there was no recovery time. Like, it was that night.
Yeah.
We also were able to move a lot of our furniture. You can see from the photo on the left, all those bookcases are on wheels. So we just kind of pushed them out of the way to make a better space to get to the dance floor.
This is, we had a nice balloon arch, which made really well for photo ops for people to do it. As you can see, that's the space beforehand. And then with the balloon arch, right across from that is one of our programming rooms where we had you can see we have a sign there for retro games. We had like retro games, retro video games, all sorts of stuff from the 70s. And we just put up little decorations, every little thing, every area we tried to have decorated. So
We used the entire
we
library.
did. You'll see a few more now.
Again, we had those movable bookcases. We pushed them out of the way. We made room for tables. We did offer some food and candy, so we wanted to have create a space where people could sit. So we put tables and chairs right there, and they did get used. I think every inch of the library there were people, which was exciting.
As you can see here, this is our programming room. We turned into a karaoke room with couches. We thought, what better than to have like an old school couch? And these are actually the couches that we have in the library. We just put little
Those are
sheets over
sheets.
them,
Those are like
and just a
yellow
rug.
mustard sheets.
just a rug that we have. And I mean, if you look at the picture next to it, that's what the room normally looks like. It's just got tables. There's that same bookshelf.
Oh, yeah.
You can see. So it's leveraging your space and what you have. I mean, it's really important. Those are those couches, I believe, right?
Yes, those are the couches that
Yeah,
we moved.
we
So we
split
moved them we did a lot of moving furniture around to make different spaces.
Didn't take us too long either.
No, not at all. No, so we moved all of that furniture into the programming room where we were doing the karaoke, and that made space for us to have additional activities right outside of the karaoke space. We also wanted to protect the library, right? This was a nighttime event. It was from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This was after hours. We didn't want people in the stacks, pulling books off the shelves, etc. So we caution taped all of the stacks from both ends so people couldn't walk through. We also covered our computers so that, people were walking around with water and soda and stuff like that. And we also didn't want people to think that they could come and sit down and use the computers. So we protected our space as much as we could. We also wanted to create ambiance. This was May, so it was still light out at 7 o'clock. So
If you want that disco feel, you don't want to have like a coming in.
The front of our library where we had the dance floor, we have big windows and it's very bright. So we covered them with black construction paper. We covered all the windows with black construction paper.
Thank God for the team volunteers.
Yes.
On that one.
And we also, you can't really see it too well here, but we also added little disco balls. We have like ceilings like this. So we put the magnets up with the disco balls. And we got a little strobe light. It wasn't a strobe, but it was just like projecting colored lights. And all of that was off of Amazon. And it was so fun. We were trying to find like one big disco ball. So expensive. So we're like,
little one.
Why
not?
It's because it filled the space and the light reflected off of it. It really created a disco feel.
So this is just a video.
Yeah, this is just what it looks like.
Is that the electric slide?
Yeah. Everyone's doing the electric slide.
You can see all ages though. We had all ages at this event, so it was really cool. That we had lots of people.
Yeah.
So I actually curated our Spotify disco playlist. I provided you guys a nice QR code if you actually want to check it out. I literally was like very careful with this. Nothing from 1980. Nothing. It had to be 76 to like 79. I was like, I got this. And then we just random it. We just let it play random all night so that it would just we wouldn't have to worry about it. We wouldn't have to worry about it just going. We tested our technology. We did that as well. And then we also did the same thing with our karaoke list. YouTube has a ton of karaoke. I had no idea about this, but YouTube has a ton of karaoke where the words just are on the screen. And we had some of our team volunteers running the karaoke, which they did a great job. And we've actually since then done more karaoke in the library. I have a karaoke event scheduled for May, and it's that easy. You just have the list. All you gotta do is curate it. We alphabetized it and said, okay, what are we doing? I gave people a list of songs, and all night long, people were doing karaoke, all ages, having a great time with it. Some of them were terrible, some were great. But what was really nice was that everybody was very supportive of each other.
Oh, so encouraging.
Yeah, everybody was cheering each other along. Oh, do you want to partner with me? We can do this together.
Yeah,
So
yeah. A lot of duets.
Yeah.
So to create a true community event, we wanted to make sure that our programming would be suitable for all ages. And thankfully, the activities that you find at a disco, like karaoke and dancing, are pretty good for everyone. So we had kids who were enjoying the karaoke, dancing. We weren't sure if they were going to, know songs from the 70s or, but they did. And
They actually did, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, with some Grease fans in there.
Mhm.
Videos and board games were popular with all ages. For adults, there's the nostalgia with Froggy and games like Twister. And then for kids, those are just fun games, Kids like to play video games. Um, and then just in case there was something, maybe some younger kids, we made sure to set up a children's craft station. So we had a peace sign beaded necklace craft. After they finished it, they could wear it as an accessory. And we had coloring pages, so of course we had to have Pete the Cat.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
Yeah, so there's some scenes of the karaoke in action. We've got a group of kids. We've got Mike up there.
Yep.
And a few other adults from the
And then this is one of our patrons who dressed up, and he told me he had that outfit still from the 70s. Yeah.
And then that's a picture of the board or the game room.
For the video games, we just had like laptops that we pulled up retro games online that you can find for free, which I found a bunch of them, and we said these are the games that you guys can play tonight. And we kind of threw that in as an extra, like maybe this will be all night. There were people in there playing video games, playing the board games and stuff. And then you can see more of our couches here that we had people just coming in to watch other people do karaoke and just enjoy it.
So we mentioned that we had teen volunteers helping us. The Monroe Free Library already has a teen volunteer program where we accept teens from grades 8 through 12. We already have the training and the scheduling system built for that. So we invited them to come help out with this event. We had 2 shifts. So first we had a group of teens come to help us set up. They helped decorate. There's a picture there of us setting things up. They covered the windows with the construction
They were
paper.
great.
And then we had 4 teens a second shift to actually help out with running the event. So along with staff members, they helped with running the karaoke, monitoring the game room, helping with the craft and food stations. And the reason I say 4+ volunteers for setting up is because we actually had teens, or for running the event, when setting up, we actually had teens ask if they could stay later. We had teens that invited their friends and they really enjoyed the event. So of course, we gave them breaks where they could participate as well. And they loved their 70s candy and they had fun doing karaoke and dancing. And I like to bring that up because teens can be a hard age group to reach, but having buy-in from that age group just shows like how successful the event was and how we really did manage to make it for all ages.
Yes. Timeline was really important here. The first time we mentioned the word disco in our planning committee was in February. And we knew that we had to do this in May because May was the 70s. So like we had a short timeline. We had to really stick close to it, and we had to stay organized. We had to keep it manageable. We had to get the buy-in, and we knew we were a committee of 4. We knew the four of us could not do it on our own. So we did reach out to additional staff members. We gained 2 people, which was nice. They helped us out with other things.
We also gained even 2 more day of because we had people who were just in the library that day closing and said, "Hey, can I help?" And we were like, "Sure."
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it was
definitely.
really important. We set up very, very strict like to-do lists of who's doing what and when are they doing it. So the first list on the left is in preparation, who's responsible for the games, who's responsible for the dance floor, etc. Who do we have on staff? And then the day of, we had a very short window to get ready. So we closed the library an hour early to start getting ready. And we didn't want to be running around crazy, like, okay, what do we have to do next? What do we have to do next? So everybody was assigned an area. That was your area to transform. You were responsible for it. And it was so smooth that we actually had like maybe 10, 15 minutes before the event started to like just decompress and get dressed. And it was nice. We didn't feel rushed, you know? We got everything we needed to get ready, and we were ready. So how did it go? What was the outcome? What was the impact, right? And the why. So our community loved it. We had over 100 people come to this event. It was a Friday night.
And that's all for us. That's the most we've had for any event.
Yes, yeah. So this is a comment from one of our senior patrons. They said they loved it. They felt like they were back in the 70s. And I have to say, after this, I think we started to see her a lot more.
I saw her last night. She asked me. I was at my book club last night. I said, "When are you guys doing another big party?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
So we had board members attend who talked about it, who stayed. That was another great thing about the event. People stayed
The whole time.
The whole time. It was amazing. It wasn't like, all right, they're going to drop in and then go. They stayed.
They never left.
No, they never left. So why large scale events matter for libraries? Right? It builds community connections, attracts new audiences. I think after this event, we saw a lot of our seniors come to the library because
they started coming to other things.
Yeah, we would go to the senior center and we would kind of pop in there. But I think after this event, they started coming to us a little more, which was exciting. We also found success in our karaoke that we decided we weren't going to do an end party for the series, but like, you know what? It was so successful, let's do it. And our end party was super successful. And that's all it was. It was karaoke and like one other activity.
We had a character tourist and we had like a costume contest from any decade they could dress up.
From any decade.
And the other piece of it is fun. I always say like, everybody thinks about like the library, like, let's have a good time. Let's just do something really fun and different. And like, that's kind of much like what I do with all my programs. It's fun. Gotta have some fun out there.
You know, but it really showcased the library as a community hub. We are the only indoor space our community has to come and be together for free. That's it. We are the only space. And it was a true community event. We had babies all the way up to seniors there.
And I think people were very, and I don't think they meant this in a bad way, but I think they were very surprised that we pulled it off. There were many patrons who were like, no, I had one lady who was like, I didn't think you guys would be able to do it. And she's like, you guys did it. It feels like a real disco. And it was really cool to see that people actually were like, not like this is cheesy, like, oh great, there's like a couple of 70. No, we really, like, you never know when it's gonna happen. So
right. So these are just some additional photos of just they were all different spaces where people could relax, be engaged. It wasn't a loud event the whole time. I think we wanted to make sure that there were places where people could go where they could step away from the dance floor and step away from karaoke. And we were able to create those spaces. So we just have some final recommendations. Mike, you want to go?
I would say be bold. Like I said, be bold. Don't be afraid. Worst that'll happen is your event fails. We had an event about a week beforehand that was like supposed to be really good for the 70s, and we had like 3 people show up for it. So we were actually really nervous going into this that we were going to have
nobody was going to show.
Nobody show up. That it was going to be 7. We would open the doors and no one would be there. But just be bold. Go out there and try it. Worst that, like I said, worst that'll happen is that you don't have a big turnout, and it happens. We've all been there, I'm sure. So
Sara?
Yeah, I think really committing to the theme is helpful because then people come in, they show how much effort was put into it, and they can really enjoy themselves. It's not like a tacky party.
Yeah.
It's a fun space where they can actually show up as community members and have this free opportunity to connect with each other.
My final 2 recommendations, sorry. One is you don't have to do it on a big budget. you could have done this a lot on a smaller scale than this, and it still would have been successful, I think, if we had less money to put towards this. And the other thing is, don't be embarrassed about marketing your event to everybody and anybody. I think one of the reasons that we had so many people walk through the door is because we made people so tired of hearing about this event.
You're like, all right, I will just stop telling me about it. I promise.
Don't be afraid to really push your big events and really get the word out there any chance you get.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
How hard was it to get everybody out at the end of the?
Actually, real quick, what was really cool was a lot of them actually helped us clean up.
Yeah.
People just wanted to help because they saw how much work we put into it, and they actually like there were areas of the library we all looked at each other like, who cleaned that up?
Yeah.
We had no idea. Like, no joke. Like, people were really just willing to help. And I think when it was over, we also turned off the music. Everything was stopping, so it wasn't really like for people to stay. And I think people saw us cleaning, and they were like, okay, I'm either gonna help or get out.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No, we actually did the opposite. We had to turn the lights on. Yeah, we turned the lights on.
Music
I
off.
think I said so. Like, we're turned back into a pumpkin now, so you gotta like we're back into a library now. We're no longer a disco.
We really hyped it up. We said, all right, guys, this is the last song of the disco.
Yeah, we
party."
did. I think we did Donna Summer's Last Dance
Dance,
as the
yeah.
last song. I was like
Yeah.
really adamant on doing that, so I had to like put that on a separate playlist so it would be like on its own, and people knew that
Yeah.
it was over.
Yeah. Yes.
Your slides are
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
We
much.
got so many good pictures out of it. So I'm really excited.
What were your considerations as far as like sustainability? The things that you purchased, were you able to reuse them?
Yeah, so we have a twice a year yard sale. We sold all of the disco balls at the yard sale. We sold the strobe light at the yard sale.
Stuff we did.
Some of
I mean, like I said, we've been using the karaoke stuff again. Like
Mhm.
anything we made, I feel like we were able to keep. But like the disco balls also weren't that expensive.
No,
We could
no, but we did save
give
some of
away
the.
too, if people
Yes,
wanted them.
we did
I
give
know.
some away. We did save some of the decorations because we still had the 70s to go through, so we were able to repurpose that in the library for our 70 decor. So we didn't
We
miss
also had
out on that.
pictures of things from the 70s. We did this for each decade. We had pictures around our library of things that came out in those decades.
Yeah.
And are the 70s coming back for you guys like the next year?
I don't know.
We don't know. We're trying to think about our next big thing.
I wanted to do an 80s party, but it never happened.
Soon. It was
never
too
happened.
soon.
It was like 80s party. Let's go. So.
All right. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you guys.